I'd like to begin by noting that I originally released this theory on r/Star Wars under my alternate nickname Jagny Stormskull. As you can see from the edit post button and the original document right here, this is my theory. My name is Jimmy Chaos, and today I'm here to talk to you about the Chosen One Avatar theory. No, not that Avatar, not that one, no. Yes, that one. The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra. Before I go on, I own none of this. Free speech, fair use, yada yada. I love these franchises. Thank you so much, creators of them. Now then, for those who don't know, the Avatar franchise is about the Avatar, a reincarnating Tier 1 figure who uses the four classical elements to keep balance between the four elemental nations. When an Avatar dies, their powers go to the next nation within the cycle. The Avatar's most Tier 0 ability is the Avatar state, which allows them to call on all of the knowledge and abilities of past Avatars. This is also when the Avatar is at his most vulnerable, as if the Avatar dies in the Avatar state, the cycle will end. If you're wondering what that has to do with Star Wars, just hold these ideas of reincarnation, balance between multiple sides, and using past knowledge in your mind for a bit. I'll get back to them soon. For those who don't know, the Chosen One in the old expanded universe was created by this fellow, Darth Plagueis, and his apprentice, Darth Sidious, when they soaked the planet Tatooine in dark side energy. Plagueis sought to create the ultimate agent of the dark side, but the Force punished him for his hubris by soaking the baby in the light, thereby creating the agent of the balance, the Chosen One. This baby was Anakin Skywalker. Anakin. Yeah. Anakin, now known as Darth Vader, fulfilled his destiny by wiping out the Jedi and the Sith, leaving only one master of each side of the Force, Luke on the light and Snoke on the dark. Now, for those who would disagree about my interpretation of balance, I have a couple of different sources to bring up. First is Bendu. Bendu is a mysterious Force entity who lives on the planet Atollon, who represents balance. Listen to what he said to Kanan Jarrus the first time they met. Bendu, your imbalance woke me from a deep slumber. Kanan, imbalance? Bendu, your presence is like a violent storm in this quiet world. Kanan, you're a Force wielder, but you're not a Jedi. The Bendu, wielder? The Jedi and the Sith wield the Ashla and the Bogan, the light and the dark. I'm the one in the middle, the Bendu. This is a clear show of the idea that both the Jedi and the Sith are inherently imbalanced. These ideals, and the terms Ashla and Bogan, harken back to the planet Tython. Tython was recently made canon in the book Star Wars Complete Locations, which proposed it as one of the possible canon locations of the original Jedi Temple. However, most of its lore comes from the old expanded universe. These original Jedi of the expanded universe, who were spelled slightly differently as you can see on screen, had some problems. See, Tython's moons, Ashla and Bogan, represented the light and the dark, and if you went too far to either side, you'd make the other moon angry, and it would wreak havoc upon the world. So the Order tried to stay in balance until the Force Wars. The Force Wars began when the Rakatan Infinite Empire invaded the Tython system, leading to a Jedi named Dagan Loke leading a group of Jedi to follow the dark side, after the Rakatans had been defeated, that is. With a group of Jedi worshipping the dark side under Dagan Loke and the Jedi Council worshipping the light side, the light and darkness war began. And suddenly, the Force was out of balance. As you can see, in these days, the Jedi actually used metal swords, augmented with the Force. And they were freaking awesome. Earlier, I promised you evidence that REY is Anakin. And let me tell you, I am here to give it to you. If this theory comes true, it will clear up a lot of the plot holes from the last two movies, and, in my opinion, make for a great final movie. So let's get, well, not really started, but finished? See, my own little endgame starts with this lightsaber, and more importantly, the visions that Rey received from it. See, the visions can only mean one thing: Anakin's kyber crystal called out to her. For those who don't know, a kyber crystal is a sentient entity that calls out to a Jedi and is used in the construction of a lightsaber. In Star Wars The Clone Wars, young Jedi search the crystal caves of Ilum until a kyber crystal calls out to them. They are then sent to an architect droid played by David Tennant, who teaches them how to build a lightsaber. We're never told that Anakin's lightsaber called out to Luke. In fact, Luke constructed his own lightsaber later on. This seems to suggest that the tie to the kyber crystal isn't familial, but personal to Anakin himself. If we take this assumption that the bond is personal to Anakin himself, then the only logical conclusion to Anakin's kyber crystal showing Rey the visions that you see on screen now is that she is Anakin. But don't worry, skeptics. I've got more than that. People say that Kylo is weak, but I have a problem with that. A few problems, actually. He can hold blaster shots in mid-air. He survived a sneak attack from Luke Skywalker, only to betray and wipe out the Jedi Order with his new freaky entourage. He spent his entire life training in the Force, first in the light and then in the dark, just like some of the most powerful Force users in history, like Dooku, Vader, and heck, I'll throw Asajj Ventress in the category, why not? Finally, he's the new version of Darth Caedus, aka Jason Solo from the old expanded universe. And I refuse to believe that Darth Caedus is a whiny emo who can't fight. So, despite the fact that he has so much more experience than Rey, Rey manages to beat him when she picks up the most mystical weapon in the galaxy for pretty much the first time, at least in terms of battle. I mean, that lightsaber might as well have been a glow stick to her. And yet, she defeats Kylo Ren. Now, earlier I mentioned the Avatar state. The idea I had to explain how an untrained warrior could somehow wield an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. The weapon of a Jedi, to defeat an actual freaking fallen Jedi, is that Rey can enter a sort of Anakin state, where she accesses the memories and powers of Anakin, perhaps when he was at his peak during Revenge of the Sith. Remember, even the mighty Anakin, who had trained for years, lost his first duel to Dooku. They faced many times in the Clone Wars before their final duel during Revenge of the Sith. Rey, who spent her entire life living on the surface of a planet, also had ship marksmanship skills that matched those of Han Solo. That doesn't seem to track, and yet they do track with someone else we know. The Prophet, who located the beginning of the fun. Rey shares another strange connection with Anakin as well. After Han's death, Leia consoles Rey, who she's never met before, instead of, say, Chewbacca, Han's best friend, who she's known for years. Well, Leia was able to sense her familial bond with Luke before he ever told her anything. Given this, it's possible that she could also have sensed the spirit of her father inside of Rey. It may not have to do with the lightsaber or the Avatar state or anything, but it still seems to make sense. Anyway, as a great man many times said, we do not know until it is confirmed. However, if it is confirmed, I think the logical next step would be Rey founding a new organization dedicated to preserving the balance between the light and the dark. I have a so-called Grey Jedi code on screen right now. Now, you could argue that Kylo did a lot of what Vader did by wiping out the Jedi and killing Snoke. However, the problem with this is that after doing this, Kylo didn't bring balance to the galaxy. He just became the new Snoke. Some would also falsely claim that I am saying that Rey couldn't have so much power without outside help. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that she couldn't have so much power with no training without outside help. As I said earlier, even Anakin had to duel Dooku multiple times before he could beat him. And same thing with Luke. You take into account Empire Strikes Back and the comics, he had multiple encounters with Vader before he could beat him. But Rey beats her own Vader in the first try. There's gotta be something there. Nobody is born a black belt. You have to work for that. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think that the Force is going to be put back in balance? Do you think that Rey is the reincarnation of Anakin and can access his abilities? And do you think that metal blades that have the Force pulsating through them are cool? Okay, that's a stupid question. Everyone thinks they're cool. Anyway, my name is Jimmy Chaos, and I will see you guys later. I am out.